Sports fans and Lowco golf fans, welcome to a very special podcast. I am Wes Kerr, joined by Lowco golf correspondent Brian Rietveld, because it's CJ Cup week. The CJ Cup in South Carolina is here, and we have some of the best golfers in the world coming to Congaree Golf Club for what should be an incredible tournament this week. And Brian, I'm sure you are pumped to head over there. It's going to be a very special and memorable few days for golf in the Lowcountry.
Yeah, sweet little surprise, a little treat for us, that we weren't expecting. And I'm super pumped that Congaree gets another tournament and to really get to showcase the golf course the way it should be in all its glory. It's going to play way different than it did, last summer. So I'm looking forward to getting out there and seeing that ball bounce around a little bit.
Absolutely. I mean, what a treat for us here in the Lowcountry to get a second PGA Tour event in the same year for 2 straight years. In 2021, of course, Congaree hosted the Palmetto Championship back in June, which we got to cover, and one of my favorite events that I've been able to be a part of here at Lowco Sports. And I'm going to do it again here in 2022 in what should be a beautiful weekend in October. I mean, fall weather, obviously, it was nice having the summer, but the conditions here are going to be absolutely beautiful, and we'll get to that later on. But let's talk about this field, because it is absolutely stacked. I mean, unbelievable
Yes, sir.
group of golfers that will take center stage here at Congaree, including 6 in the top 10 of the official world golf rankings, led by Masters champion Scotty Scheffler, coming off just an incredible 2022 season. Rory McIlroy, the defending champion of the CJ Cup, who won it last year in Vegas, and the FedEx Cup winner from this past PGA Tour season. So McIlroy will be there, one of the biggest names, biggest stars in the golfing world. John Rahm, the Spaniard, who is up top there as one of the greatest in this crop of golfers over these last few years, and really excited to watch him play here in the Lowcountry. And then Justin Thomas, Colin Morikawa, 2 names that we've known pretty well from our time covering the Heritage. And then one of your favorites, Matty Fitzpatrick. Matt Fitzpatrick will be at Congaree as well. So just your initial impressions on what is an incredible field coming to the Lowco for the CJ Cup.
I think a lot of people kind of slept on this tournament. When they announced that was coming, I don't think people realized historically how strong a field the CJ Cup is. Of course, usually it's in Asia, whether Japan or Korea, last year, Vegas with the whole COVID thing. But it's always a stacked field. And I don't think people realize that Congaree was going to have this caliber of a field here in October. I mean, this is as good as it gets. I mean, you could not ask for a better field.
You look at like the Heritage and what some of the fields we've had there, especially in 2020 when it was the second event coming out of restart to COVID, and we had a stronger field than normal. And I mean, this is as good or even better than what we've seen at any Heritage in the past, which just speaks to the prestige of this golf club that has really grown to become recognizable throughout South Carolina and throughout the golfing world.
Yeah, Immelman from CBS, tweeted out the other day. He's like, take a look at this field. I think the secret is out about Congaree. I mean, he really believes that the PGA Tour guys went back, and when they announced that Congaree was going to host the CJ Cup this year, they told their buddies, like, you need to go check out this track. It's a little bit different. So I'm looking forward to it. I mean, just like you said, I mean, it's every big name out there for the most part. I mean, from Justin Thomas to Morikawa, like you talked about, young hitters like Cameron Young and up and comer Max Homa, some guys that you wouldn't see at Heritage and will probably never see at Heritage. This is your chance to go out and see.
Yeah, absolutely, because it's kind of a different field than the Heritage and a different course. So good to see some other players here in the Lowcountry and some big names throughout the golfing scene, and some others. Corey Connors, who seems like he is in the mix in seemingly every big tournament, every major. I expect him to have a good week over here in Congaree. And looking down this list, there are a couple of big name stars from the last decade of golf, and some up and comers, as you said as well. Jason Day, another past star, and still a really solid player. Ricky Fowler, Lucas Glover. So I mean, some big names who have made news over their careers, and some guys who are, like you said, coming up the ladder and looking to make a big impression. Brian Harmon, a local product. Good to see him. He a former Players Amateur champion over in Bluffton. So good to see him in the field. You mentioned Max Homa, who's becoming a star. A great season that he just had, and looking to build on that. And a couple of Korean players in the mix as
Yeah.
well, which I think makes this really special with the Korean flair of this event, and a lot of the top players from that area of the world.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, most you got Tom Kim, who everybody's gonna. I mean, that dude has been on fire. Kind of stole the show at the President's Cup a couple weeks ago. You know, Sanjay, one of the best players in the world. So it's a chance to go see some of these guys again that are obviously sponsored by CJ and everything. And so it's going to be an awesome field. It's more of a bombers type of course. So again, you're seeing some different type of golf than you would normally see down on the island.
And just going through a couple more big time names coming to this event: Hideki Matsuyama, the 2021 Masters Champion. So we have the last two Masters winners here with Matsuyama and Scotty Scheffler, which I think is pretty cool. And continuing to go down the list, a couple more big names as you look through this field. We got to talk to JT Poston at Media Day, and another really talented and well-established golfer on the PGA Tour. So excited to see him be a part of this as well. Webb Simpson, 2020 RBC Heritage Champion, will also be here. Jordan Spieth, the winner of the recent Heritage 2022, and what a great experience that was. One of my favorite Heritages I've ever covered. That was just an incredible tournament, and Jordan Spieth will look to make it 2 for 2 in the same year here in the Lowco. That would be pretty cool to see him run it back and win another one here in the Lowcountry. And so, yeah, what a fantastic field. And Cameron Young, you mentioned him. He was right there in contention for the RBC Heritage in a couple big time events this year. So would expect him. He had that strong start at Harbortown. We'll see if he can do the same thing over in Congaree. So we are very blessed and just grateful for the opportunity to cover this with an amazing field with some of the best golfers in the world. So you're the numbers guy. Let's get to hearing what the odds say here on Monday as we record this. What are the odds looking like for the CJ Cup right now?
Yeah, right off the bat, of course, it's the heavy hitters up at the top. Rory, of course, is your favorite at 8-1, followed by John Rahm at 10-1. So two pretty big heavy odds there for arguably the two best players in the world. And then you got Justin Thomas and Scotty Scheffler next at 14-1. So those are your big boys. I definitely see some value down lower as well. Our guy, we love watching Victor Hovland play. He is at plus 2,400. Two guys I think you need to keep an eye on that are more kind of in the middle of the field in terms of odds. Sam Burns is a magician on Bermuda, and he also knocks it a mile. He's at plus 2,600. I think that's a guy to take a look at. And everybody's favorite Englishman, who has a little bit of a temper, likes to throw the club a little bit, but has played well down here in the Lowcountry, has been playing really well lately, and is actually pretty solid on Bermuda himself. Old Lord Terrell Hatton. I think him at 40-1, I think he's a good value for sure.
I agree. A guy who's always in the mix and can play the ball well. And he's had some good appearances at the Heritage. So I expect him to be right in there. Yeah, once again, it's a deep, strong field and may not be the biggest in size, but when you look at just the depth across the roster of players here, I mean, there are so many guys who can put together a couple rounds and then seal this tournament. So I'm very excited and intrigued because it's very unpredictable, these events, and even more so this one because of all the strong names from top to bottom. So I'm really excited to see how this one unfolds. It's going to be a fantastic tournament. And let's get to the course here at Congaree Golf Club. We saw it last year in the summer. Now we get it in the fall. Just tell me about how things may be different this time around than what we saw a year ago at the Palmetto Championship.
Yeah, I think we're going to see it play more of what Fazio was going for. This is a completely different Fazio design than you are used to seeing from Fazio. It's going to be long, it's going to be 7,400 yards, but it's not going to play that long because the fairways are pretty wide. They're pretty forgiving. Rough is not a major issue out there, but it is super firm. You know, we talked about it last year in our preview show for the Palmetto, is that it's built to be firm and fast. Like it was inspired by Australian sandbelt. And I mean, you can attest to it. Even last year in the summer, even after rain, it was still pretty bouncy out there. I mean, balls were bouncing off the fairway 6 feet high. So I can only imagine this week. It's been nice and dry. We've had unbelievable weather, October weather, like the first really nice October we've had down there in South Carolina for a couple of years. And I I think it's going to play so much different. It's not going to be nearly as soft as it was when Gary Kigo won last year.
And you called it. Kerr was the winner of the 2021 Palmetto Championship. And I mean, looking at the weather, it's going to be picture perfect. Doesn't look like we're going to have any rain. The forecast, we're going to have some sunny skies over in Ridgeland. Going to be a little crisp and cool, high of around 68 on Thursday, but it's going to get to 77. Just as you say, Chamber of Commerce weather. I mean, you can't ask for better conditions this week and Thursday through Sunday. This tournament, I mean, just beautiful October weather. Cannot be more excited over there. And then just that's what you want. I mean, that's what we were hoping for. I mean, when we found out this tournament was going to play in October, we were pretty excited that we were able to walk down Congaree and just the amazing fall Lowcountry weather. And it looks like we're going to get the chance to do that. So just you couldn't ask for a better roll of the dice for the weather here this weekend.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like I said, I'm very excited just to see the drives. I'm excited to see how the ball bounces and rolls. You're going to see some different type of chip shots around the greens because of the firmness and the bounciness and the low cut grass. So it's going to just be a different type of golf than what you normally kind of see with the target golf, during the PGA Tour season. So I think this will be more of a showcase for Congaree to hold future events than the Palmetto was. And obviously the Palmetto showed out very well. So I think this could open the door for some bigger events.
Yeah, this was a massive success last year with the Palmetto Championship. And and certainly I think they've learned a little bit from last time when they're hosting it for a second time around, different time of the year. But I'm sure they took some stuff from what they did back in June and kind of carried that as they went in the process of holding and hosting this tournament. So kind of tell me about what they may have learned from last time and what improvements or just what things you want to see better this time than what we saw in June.
I'm hoping. So they put in new tee boxes for the tournament. Like the PGA Tour came in and said, all right, if we're going to have an event here, we need to bounce some of these tee boxes back a little bit. They never actually utilized any of those new tee boxes. So I guarantee we see a different setup. It's going to play longer on the card. It may not necessarily play longer in terms of the actual reaction on the fairways and everything, but you're going to see different tee boxes that I'm looking forward to. I think that also they can have a little bit more variety on the par fours, especially, and the par threes with those different tee boxes. So that part I'm looking forward to. And I think the greens are going to be a little bit crispier, a little bit faster this go around as well.
Going to be a big test for some of the best golfers in the world. So moving some tees around, and I'm excited for the fast green. Just makes it more exciting and more challenging for these golfers. And you want to see the best brought out of some of the top players in the tour and in the world. So really excited for this edition, and I'm sure they learned a lot from the first time hosting back in June of last year. Well, Congaree has done such an incredible job with the course that they built, and it's become such a beautiful area and one of the most challenging places to play in the state and the country. But what I admire most is the Global Golf Initiative, and they allow these high school students to empower themselves to move on and chase their dreams, whether it's playing golf at the next level or just getting to school. Just really proud of Bruce Davidson, what everybody has done there at the Global Golf Initiative, and what an opportunity for these future young men and women who will get to come here and play a course that they've had now 2 PGA Tour events and 6 of the top 10 players in the world golf rankings as of now participating in this. So just tell me about your thoughts on this amazing golf initiative and how an event like this could even strengthen it further.
Yeah, and hopefully it's something that kind of catches on at other tournaments and golf courses and golf clubs across the country. They have done an amazing job with that. You know, they've helped out with some of our public schools as well. You know, Ridgeland has a driving range now, and some other programs in terms of golf course management and turf management, all because of Congaree. So that's just amazing stuff on the grassroots level, much less even on that larger scale, bringing those kids in to not only get educated, you know, and get their diploma, but also to work on their skills to get into college, both academically as well as golf. So amazing. And again, I hope there's some more, you know, golf courses that use this as a blueprint to do good with the sport that we love.
They're making a difference in the lives of so many young people and the community at large. And you love to see that they've been giving money to several different charities, and they've made a difference and continue to touch so many aspiring golfers and young people who are going to move on and do great things in the years to come. So fantastic to see that, and really excited to keep following the Global Golf Initiative as it continues to grow throughout the coming years. But you mentioned it, and I mean, this is the second time this Congaree Golf Club has hosted a PGA Tour event, and it's an opportunity and maybe an auditioning process in a sense to kind of host a tournament like this and prove that we have the ability to have like a yearly or a semi-annually or a tournament like this that these golfers can come back to and showcase ourselves regularly on the national stage. So do you think this could be the beginning of something, either potentially a annual place or maybe once every few years for the CJ Cup, or another big tournament down the line?
Yeah, I think if it goes well, depending on what you know, the CJ Cup wants to do with its tournament, if it wants to keep it stateside and do like a little rota, you know, bounce it around, that could be interesting. I honestly think this will be more of a showcase. You know, we all know they put in a bid for the President's Cup, the one that was just played at Quail Hollow. They were hoping to host that, and I think this go around will be with the better field. I'm assuming to get a little bit heavier traffic in terms of attendance, you know, now kind of in the later stages of COVID and you know, getting back to normal, if you will. So I think if this tournament goes really well, if the golf course can handle the traffic, if the accommodations and everything holds up, I think this is more of a practice run for one of those type of events, whether it's a Solheim Cup on the LPGA side, or if it's a President's Cup down the road. I don't think we could handle a Ryder Cup just because of the sheer mass of the Ryder Cup, but I think a Solheim Cup or a President's Cup down the road could be something, or maybe even like a US Amateur or something of that nature. But I definitely think it'll be in the mix. I don't think it'll be an annual ever, but I definitely think it could be in a rotation of a President's Cup, maybe a US Amateur type of deal. I would love to see the Solheim Cup. That would be amazing.
Yeah, there's no doubt that they're going to attract the attention of several big name tournaments throughout the years to come, and they're doing everything the right way. You mentioned the philanthropic efforts, but they mentioned the philanthropic efforts, and just not only that, but the ability to maintain and develop a world class golf course that's going to test some of the best players in the world. So I mean, they're doing everything right at Congaree, and I expect some more huge events, prestigious events to be in its future in the years to come. So a big time opportunity, a big time audition process for Congaree in this event. And they knocked the first one out of the park last June. I expect them to do the same thing here in October. So let's get back to specifically this tournament. It should be an amazing competition here at Congaree with so much high-end talent. What are going to be the biggest factors to determining who comes out on top on Sunday?
You know, you got to drive the ball well. You don't necessarily have to be perfectly accurate, but you definitely have to drive the ball well to do well here. Higo did two things really, really well. He really did everything well last year, but he drove the ball very well, and he putted incredibly well. And I think it just comes down to that. I think if some of these bombers are feeling it and grooving it down the fairway, they will pick the course apart. Their approach shots, they're going to gain shots on approach because they're coming in with such short clubs. And I think it ultimately comes down to who does well on Bermuda greens. Bermuda's not everybody's favorite. A lot of guys struggle on Bermuda. It's very grainy. I'm not sure if they have overseeded yet out there. As far as I know, it's still Bermuda for this tournament. So, like going back to kind of what I said, like Sam Burns is amazing on Bermuda, whereas Rory McIlroy is kind of average. So I think it's all about the driving, all about the putting, and whoever really gets that hot blade on Saturday, Sunday, I think is going to bring it home.
Seems like it happens so many times. Whoever gets that hot putter is that's going to carry them to a tournament win. You see that most weeks on tour. If you can putt, you'll be in it no matter what. And it's just going to be a fantastic test in so many different ways for a lot of these golfers. And so excited to watch it unfold. And we mentioned that you're an expert with numbers, and you're also a big DFS guy, daily fantasy. So looking at the setup right now, when you look at DFS tournaments for this weekend, who are some of the guys, some of the value picks that could be beneficial as you look to build that lineup?
I would 100% start with Terrell Hatton. He's gonna the official number hasn't come out on him in terms of DraftKings or FanDuel's, but he's going to be down on the list. He's 40-1 in terms of the tournament. He tied for second last year. He kind of quietly, if Terrell Hatton can do anything quietly, he quietly came in a tie for second, that big old log jam, at the end of that tournament. And he did not putt well last year. And that's his thing, is putting. So I think Terrell Hatton's going to be in the mix, and you should be able to get him at a very good price. I think Vic Hovland, he does struggle on Bermuda, but he's been playing well. He's coming off a fifth in Japan. I don't know. I'd be interested in your take. You have a lot of these guys, probably 20% of this field's coming over from Japan. So a guy like Vic Hovland, can he keep that going? Even a Keegan Bradley, who just won, that's a long trip to go from Japan to the Lowcountry of South Carolina. So that's something to keep an eye on. But I would definitely, on my team, I'm definitely going to have Sam Burns. I'm definitely going to have Terrell Hatton, and another guy like Lowe that you can get on the cheap, who again is awesome on Bermuda, has done really well a lot of times in the Florida swing, is Sepp Straka. Kind of a quieter name, but in terms of value, I would go with those three guys, and then that opens the door for any of the big boys that you want to get, whether it's a Rahm or a Rory.
It's definitely tough when you have so many strong players in this field to have to kind of make a decision like that. And but also there's a lot of value because you're going to have some names that might not be priced as high, who have been playing some great golf and could certainly be in condition to win this. And yeah, I love Terrell Hatton. He seems to be always on the top of the leaderboard in some big events, and really like so many parts of his game, and I think he could have a big week as well. So yeah, a lot of solid picks there, and Burns is another guy who could go off this week. So yeah, and Hovland's right there, number 11, I believe, in the world ranking, so right outside the top 10. So yeah, I mean, it's great picks there, and there's a lot of guys who can sneak up, and so a lot of value to be had throughout this deep, not specifically huge, but a deep lineup here at the CJ Cup in South Carolina. So, well, you called it last year. You predicted that Garrick Higo would win the Palmetto Championship, and he came out on top. Let's see if you can do it again. Give me a winner. Who's going to take the title here at the CJ Cup?
I'm a little bit bummed that Higo did not get a sponsor's exemption into this one. I think that was kind of a swing and a miss there, because there's a handful of exemptions they gave out, and I'm sad the lefty did not get in. But I'm actually I'm gonna go with that longer shot. I'm gonna go with Terrell Hatton. I think he is coming from Japan. That's the only part that worries me a little bit. He did not play particularly great there, but um, he putts Bermuda amazingly well. Second last year. I think this might be his go around. Outside of that Japan, he had a top 10 in his last two tournaments. So I'm going Terrell Hatton and Sam Burns as my top two picks for me this go around. I think they kind of shock the big boys, and Hatton or Burns. How about you?
I'm going to go with an Englishman as well, and I'm going to pick Matty Fitzpatrick, one of your
Nice,
favorite guys. I
nice.
think he's a solid bet to put a big show, and if not, win this thing. Had a big 2022, of course, won the U.S. Open, tied for second at the Wells Fargo, a top five at the Valspar Championship, and then he was competitive down the stretch. Another top five finish at the FedEx St. Jude and top 15 at the Tour Championship. So a guy who's been in contention all throughout the year and picked up that big major title, and he's got to be feeling good about himself heading into
Yeah.
this new PGA Tour season. And a terrific putter, which obviously is such a huge factor. Number 7 in strokes gained from tee to green on the tour.
Yeah, he's a bomber now. You know that.
And he's really improved that distance. So
Yeah,
he's got all the tools to win here, and I think it could be a big week for Matty Fitzpatrick. So I'm going to go with my guy,
I like it. I like
Fitzpatrick,
it.
for to take the title. Well, going to be a fantastic week here at the CJ Cup. What a special opportunity for us here at Lowco Sports. Any parting thoughts from you, Mr. Rietveld, as we get ready for a big week of golf?
Nah, I hope some people take a couple of days off work and get out there with their kids. Again, this is a chance to go see the best in the world do it. You're A lot of these guys are going to take some vacations after this tournament coming up, so this will be kind of your last chance to see these big boys play, and it's awesome to be able to see them in our backyard. So get out to old Hardyville and check out Congaree.
Cannot wait to cover this CJ Cup in South Carolina. You can still get your ticket to cjcupsouthcarolina.com, and kids 15 and under are free too with every paid adult. So make sure to bring the kids if you can and come out to Ridgeland. Is going to be a fantastic weekend of golf. I mean, the opportunity to see 6 players in the top 10 and some big name stars, big ticket stars here in the golfing world. It's going to be a once in a lifetime opportunity here at Congaree. So we thank you for joining us here. We'll have nightly recaps of every round here in the tournament, and can't wait to bring it to you here on Lowco Sports and Lowco Golf. So for Brian Rietveld, this is Wes Kerr. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. Until next time, go Lowco.